Hello and welcome to Race 2 of Global Formula Automobilista Season 1 on RaceDepartment. You join us here at the Buenos Aires Circuito number 15. I don't know what that is in Spanish, so sorry, but on the formation lap for the Argentinian Grand Prix. So, where do we start? Well, championship leaders DTK Racing have ended up with, well, it's a 1-2 to start the race on the grid. This circuit is characterised by 3 really long straights, so that engine power is good to have. DTK have got over 1 times engine power in their car, and it certainly showed here today. Chris Hoy in second, with Gilles Villeneuve of Brevera Automotive last in the championship. He needs to prove a point here. Valentino Rossi, really powerful car in the Siggy Pop, needs to make up for last race where it all went wrong on lap 1. Has the ultra low downforce, which we've seen isn't as good as the low downforce, even on a circuit like this. De Angelis, second in the championship, he starts 5th, ahead of Martin Brundle and Jenson Button for the Harvey Racing. Still ultra low, but they've got the most power on the grid. Max Verstappen, he takes 8th place for NLE, last week's race winner. Ahead of Nick de Vries, who should have won the last race. Not quite as dominant as he was last week, it would seem. Jim Clark takes 10th for the Red Knight, ahead of Mika Hakkinen, still in the temporary livery 2KF1. Michael Schumacher, 12th for Bangalore. Last car to finish on the road, but he still scored points, so it was worth it. John Watson in 13th, ahead of Dan Gurney, Sergio Perez, Fernando Alonso, Juan Manuel Fangio, Nick Heidfeld. High-Tech don't have much hope here. They've got high downforce, therefore high drag, and they didn't spend anything on their engine power. They've got the worst performing engine on the grid, all the grip. They're going to struggle here. They'll be good in later rounds, but not this one. Heinz-Harald Frentzen 19th, Mario Andretti rounding out the back in 20th. As we'll just let the cars head towards the end of the formation lap. Cars all beginning to line up on the grid for the start of the race. There's the Red Knight sliding into place. And we'll just fast forward this bit. Here we go. The race is ready to go. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Here we go. Race is off. Chris Hoy seconds, DTK kind of take their place. There's a bit of confusion at the back, but Villeneuve here having a go at Hoy into turn 1. Oh, it's close, it's a very fast corner. But Villeneuve just has to slot behind. De Angelis is 4th, he's made up a place, and Jenson Button's up 2. De Vries up 3 for 6th place. So had a big drop somewhere. Rossi down to 11th. Hang on, I think we have a car stopped. We do. Perez is out. Perez is out before the rest of these got going. What's happened here? It's all got a bit confusing. He's hit the brakes, and oh no, he's been clonked by Frentzen. Sergio Perez out before he's even, got to the end of the pit lane. Fangio is then stuck behind Frentzen. Let's get an on-board from Frentzen in turn 1. He's had a decent start, it's all just chopped up, he's gone for it, and I can't really say Perez has been done dirty there, really. But back to the front, the Breveras, they're looking closer, but De Angelis is looking quite racy behind his teammate there, Villeneuve. He's in the slipstream. There's a few good cars in the slipstream. One of the Harveys has dropped a long way back. What is this? De Angelis going for up the inside of Villeneuve. He's got the inside line into the chicane, but he's later on the brakes, is Villeneuve. That's a Button got sideways there. De Vries probably getting interested. Maybe thought about the move, but that wasn't quite going to happen. De Angelis is defending from Button, or is he attacking Villeneuve? I don't know, but De Vries is close to Button as we go into the tight, twisty infield section. This is going to be interesting, because all that power is well and good, but you still need to be able to control it through this end of the lap. We'll see who's up to the task, but the DTK's lead, and De Vries is going for it. De Vries has gone round bottom, down this short straight. Brilliant move there. Kept it going. I mean, he doesn't have as much power as the Harvey. I mean, no one has as much power as the Harvey, but he's made it move. And Verstappen's up the inside of Hakkinen there. Clark's dropped back. I know he's pitted. That's why Clark had a great grid slot. Fortunately, it's not worked out for him. So, Fabian Barthez leads the race. Ahead of Chris Hoy by just a second. Villeneuve back, and De Angelis has actually dropped a little bit behind. De Vries is 5th. Button 6th with Verstappen. And look at Rossi! Rossi absolutely flying down that straight. He's got 1.07 times power. That NLE is only 0.99. But he's got the low downforce, which is why Hakkinen's flying up on him. Actually, Watson as well, the two KF1's hounding Rossi. But then gets on the power down the straight and disappears. But next section lap, it's all about the downforce and the grip, which, well, he doesn't really have. Verstappen lining up Button, but he gets scared of him and has to sit back. Barthez is serenely pulling away. And let's see, this is, so Frenson's at the back of the grid. We'll just watch Frenson around this top corner. So this top corner here, very fast corner, but you see Frenson, not much power, 172 miles an hour in the bottom right as he comes in, but yes, this second part he's able to take flat out at 170 because he has all the downforce. Whether anyone else will, well, that remains to be seen. But we'll just see with Barthez. I mean, he's at the front, he's leading, so it seems sensible to see how our leader takes that corner. So, turn 1, little dab on the brakes, turn 2, another dab on the brakes, down a gear each time. Fly up the straight. So remember, 172, well, 172 was what French was going into here. Look at this, 186 is what Barthez is flying into this corner at. And he's on low downforce, a little lift, and he's taking it 183. Very brave driving from the Frenchman. But that's why he's leading the race. Verstappen here. Got a great launch at the corner. Can't really catch up to Button. In fact, Hakkinen's closing. Hakkinen's closing on Verstappen. Rossi, that low downforce in the middle sector is really hampering him. Obviously, as everybody's just deciding to use that point of the lap to overtake him. Even on probably the one circuit on it. Oh, that was a bit loose there from Brundle. That was a bit scary. Just from that static camera, it looked like he was about to throw it away. So he's taken a bit of curb, lost the rear, but he styled it out and kept it going. There's enough power in that car to power out of anything. I mean, I know it's rear-wheel drive, so technically that's a null statement, but you get my point. Harvey is a bit of a beast there. An interesting thing there, didn't show much pace in the last round, really. Oh, hang on. A front wing off there from Fangio. I'll get back to the Harvey point in a minute. What's Fangio done here? He's following Gurney. He wants to get past Gurney. The Red Knight, they've upgraded their downforce. They've gone from ultra low to low. Fangio's obviously decided it's my home race. I've got more grip in my car. Come on, Gurney, what have we got? Oh. Okay, no, Gurney has... I don't even know how to describe that. He's just... well, we'll see. He's just made a mistake and Fangio's just been in the wrong place. So everything's normal. He turns in and it just twitches in the middle of the corner and Fangio tries to capitalise but also doesn't. Well, that's his problem, I suppose. Here you go, John Watson. He's actually been passed there. But it's actually towards the front, unseen by us. Gilles Villeneuve has got past Chris Hoy. Where's that happened? It's gone before the hairpin. Oh, oh, okay, interesting. So, he's sent it into the chicane. Hoy's left in space. Hoy's had a twitch, and Villeneuve's thought, ah, yes, well, if you're going to twitch, I'm just going to boot it out the corner and get past you. And Villeneuve set fastest lap in the process. Good move there from the Canadian. Of course, as previously mentioned, he was our first retirement last time out, so despite running a comfortable second place again, well, last time he was in second place, it blew up on him. So hopefully he'll be able to go a bit further. We'll see. But a good race in Brazil went unrewarded, unfortunately. But Barthez is certainly looking stronger here today than he was back then, although he finished on the podium. Verstappen has still got that 2K F1 with him, and as you can see behind, the Siggy Pop has dropped back, but Verstappen here, he's dragged past Hakkinen, sends it on the brakes, gets it slowed down, and Verstappen is through on Hakkinen. 2K F1, they had a double DNF last time out, so they're going to be hoping for something a lot better this time round. Mainly called one car getting to the finish. Anyway, where were we? Harvey. Yes, Harvey Racing, so third in the championship after the first round, which is a surprise because they were with the ultra low downforce, which, as we quickly found out, was a bit terrible. And actually, as we're seeing from this race, still isn't great because, well, Siggy Pop and Harvey, they're the highest ultra low teams, but that's because they've got enough power to brute force and ignorance it. Actually, as Watson sends it on the inside of Brundle into a corner, he can't deal with it. Just can't deal with it. But yes, they got a double finish. They got a double finish in 6th and 7th, which, as the second team to have a double finish, probably helped, as Brundle has just dragged straight back past Watson down the next straight. You know, there's 14% power difference between the two cars, the Harveys and the 2KF1. So you can see why that happened. Jenson Button, actually no, I mean he's 6th, he's running 6th on pure pace, and he's, well, I don't know if he's pulling away from Verstappen, but it's certainly not doing too badly. As Hoy is back past Villeneuve. Where has that happened? I'm trying to show off the midfield, guys. Stop changing at the front while I'm not looking. Oh, Hoy's got him into the final chicane. That's why I didn't see it. I wasn't expecting that. So, oh, Villeneuve's had a bit of a twitcher on the curb. Yeah, Villeneuve's got a bit. He's got a bit of. It's not gone well for him there. He's not going to enjoy that replay, but you know, when he says at the end, well, I'd rather have lost the position than kept my foot in and blown up into a wall. I mean, that's about the only excuse he's got at the moment, because that was poor. That was poor from Villeneuve. So DTK Racing back into a 1-2. Bravera taking 3rd and 4th at the moment. Nick de Vries of NLE Motorsport, of course, the biggest loser of the last race, really, with 3 laps to go. He'd lost so many points. 1st to 15th with an engine blow up. He's not shown the electric pace he did last time, but as it can all change. This is a long race. It's 49 laps. It's a decent circuit. Obviously, it's not like the 71 we had in Interlagos, but longer track, faster track. We'll see how this goes. So far, 5 laps in, we've only had the 1 DNF, which was Sergio Perez on the first lap. Button, yeah, you see that middle sector, or the final sector, Verstappen has flown up behind. As Watson and Brundle, and now actually Rossi as well, are in a titanic scrap here. But look at this, Brundle just drags straight back past down the next straight. And Rossi's followed him. Rossi's actually having a look. Oh, big slide from Rossi. He got too close there. How's he going to do out of this corner? Oh, I don't know. Let's have a look. So Verstappen, Verstappen is quicker than Button. He clearly is quicker than Jenson Button here, even with this advantage down the straights. We'll go in the shoulder cam. Oh no, he's just speed through the corner and in the slipstream. As soon as he pulls out the slipstream, the wall of air and the power of the Harvey, nothing he can do about that. Easy Watson, he's sat here watching Rossi and Brundle pulling away to his next. I mean, if Rossi's gonna go sideways like that, what do you expect Watson to do? He should come flying through at the next available opportunity. Maybe not yet. Right, we'll just see what's happening at the front. Hoy and Villeneuve are still close, but I think it's looking like a pass yet. Button is probably starting to hold Verstappen up, but that's a little oh, big twitcheroo from Button. Big twitcheroo from Button. Is Verstappen going to send it to the hairpin? Yes, he does. He absolutely does. But Button's going to fight back, and Häkkönen's going to sit here and watch it happen. Oh, look at Button. He just puts his foot down and he's gone from the 2K F1. Absolutely gone. Now you see big fast corners here where you're not flat out, and Button's really not happy through there. In fact, he's third gear. We've seen from Barthez earlier that he was fifth and then fourth through there. So the ultra low downforce not helping the Harvey. And I think this is a losing battle, really. It's more a case of is Häkkönen going to get past Button here. Oh, look at that. He's just carried so much speed through the corner, but he's had to get out the throttle on the exit, which has screwed him over. But I wouldn't give it longer before Häkkönen's through. Brundle and Rossi, they've dispatched of Watson and they're pulling away. Schumacher's in 12th with Alonso behind. Alonso, oh, he's got the power, but he just can't quite find his way through. Bangalore, they're still ultra low, but he's 0.08% of engine power multiplier down on the Siggy Pop, but he's keeping him behind. He's keeping him well behind, and that's some good driving there by Michael Schumacher. Someone's 13th, Gurney 14th after. Well, you can see the dent in his side pod, and actually Andretti from the back of the grid is up to 15th. He is. So that's nice to see for Excelsior. Didn't have a great race last time. They did get some points for Andretti finishing 8th last time. That was mainly down to attrition more than anything else rather than pace. Andretti got the inside of Gurney. Maybe that was orchestrated, maybe that was just a good move. But who knows? Who knows? So Gurney 15th, Heidfeld 16th. This isn't High-Tech's race. This isn't the race for High-Tech. Clark 17th, Fangio, Red Knight, they did some upgrades. Their car was looking decent around here, but contact and a couple of front wings later in there at the back. Frentzen with his damaged front wing is screwed, and Perez, of course, are only retirement. Hoy's got Villeneuve now behind him still, keeping him honest, you know. Villeneuve's doing what he can to Hoy. There's only 1%, 0.1% even power difference between the cars. So it's not much, it's just basically driving skill this is coming down to. And Villeneuve can't quite keep up with Hoy at the moment. He's got a very fast car underneath him, but it's not as consistent. So Villeneuve's got a speed of 70, Hoy's got a speed of 61, so it's a big difference there. So this power shouldn't really be making much of a difference. So it comes down to the driver, and Villeneuve is obviously the better driver, but Villeneuve's mid-racing skill is 59, whereas Hoy's is 67. And I think this is where it's coming into play. Villeneuve isn't able to be as consistently quick as Hoy is. Hoy is able to keep up maybe a lower maximum speed, but he's able to keep it up for longer. So Villeneuve's kind of zipping to and fro, and that's probably what's causing him to just be stuck behind Hoy for the moment. I mean, Villeneuve's going to pass him at some point probably. We'll see. Anyway, to scroll back, so the NLEs are running 5th and 6th, so we're a bit Noah's Ark at the front. Going in 2 or 2 is that Hackner now is past Button. Button can't really keep up. Brundle and Rossi 10th with Watson stuck behind. So Harvey's running together. It's obviously a very power hungry circuit, and it's showing at the moment. It's Watson, he can't get past that city pop. Just doesn't have the grip. I mean, he's got low rather than ultra low downforce, so you know he's got a bit more drag, and he's not got as much power. But middle sector, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about it, Watson. So through the hairpin and the chicane into this left-hander. Rossi a bit wide there, but gives some good entry to here. Watson's got a better apex, and Rossi's on the curb, but it's a straight. Now there's a fast chicane into a hairpin coming up. This is where the low downforce will really shine. Again on power earlier, he thinks of it, he thinks about it, he does send it. John Watson up the inside of Rossi. Good move. But Rossi's not able to get him back actually. That's a surprise. Straight off the exit. But you can just see he's reeling him in the slipstream. He's lifted off. He obviously wants to sit behind him for this corner and try and get him down the next 2 straights. Although he's forgotten the downforce difference. The Siggy Pop is not happy to that corner, but look at him fly up behind Watson. Look at that. This is 0.95 versus 1.07 engine power. That was scary how much that closed. But oh, Watson, that's some clever driving from the Briton there. Throws a little bit of dirt into the air, into the face of Rossi and onto his tyres, and Rossi has a big slide, and that's it. Game over. So it looks like Alonso's finally got past Schumacher as the City Pop is dropping back. Harvey's, they're doing what they can for the ultra low downforce brigade, but it really isn't working. It really isn't working. De Vries, what's he got? He's got 5-second gap to De Angelis. I think the NLEs obviously just don't have the pace this weekend. Villeneuve is still close to Hoy. All of this battling, however, he's letting Fabien Barthez disappear up front. That's now a 5-second lead between Barthez and Hoy. Now that's quite a bit. It's quite a bit of difference, which, 11 laps into the race. It's going to take a few dodgy pit stops and blue flags to change that. Although in such a long lap, blue flags are going to be a bit harder to come by, and with so many straights it shouldn't be too hard to let someone through unless you catch them in the middle of the third sector. Towards the end of the lap, but actually Villeneuve has just blasted past Hoy there. Villeneuve finally gets through on Hoy. Was there anything extenuating, or was that just genuine? So let's see. Through the top end of the track. Tiny lift. Didn't see anything that looked wrong there. He's nowhere, and has Hoy lifted? I think something's happened with Chris Hoy. Yeah. He's let him through. That's the only thing I can read into that. That was, unless Hoy's about to blow up, he seems to have he's just lifted off down the straight, and Villeneuve's gone, thank you very much. That's a new one for me, I must say. So, unless Hoy blows up within the next couple of laps, and that was just a preceding engine blow up, then I think we're just going to have to go with Hoy's let Villeneuve through. Don't know if race control have come over and said, Hoy, let him go through, or I just don't know. The team or race control or someone. Well, there you go, something new. Yeah, lap 12, let's go through the race order. So, Fabian Barthez is in the lead, he's got the fastest lap, he's disappearing, he's quite happy out the front. And looking to extend DQK's Constructors' Championship lead. Will of course make all their upgrades more expensive, so I mean they had to spend quite a lot more than everyone else in the last round, so their advantage isn't going to get too big, we hope. DTK leading at the moment. It's a long race though, a lot of stuff can change. Gilles Villeneuve up to second after Chris Hoy seemingly let him through. Hoy there in third place. Elio De Angelis is up from 5th on the grid, up to 4th, so DTK Braveras are dominating at the moment. Nick de Vries, he's up 4 places from his grid slot, it's a really good start from the Dutchman. Max Verstappen as well, his teammate behind him in 6th. The NLEs are kind of filling the no man's land between the Braveras and the DTKs, and then everyone else really. Mika Hakkinen up 4 places to 7th at 2KF1. Got that low downforce. They don't have as much power as anyone else, but car and the driver are obviously very in sync here, and they're doing pretty damn good. 7th place. I mean, to be honest, they just want a points finish. That's all they care about at the moment. I mean, yes, they would like a double top 10 because that's what their sponsor is, but at this point they'll take a finish. Jens Sebastian 8th, leading for the Ultra Low Brigade. Harvey, I mean, it was good at the start, but they're just falling back now as everybody else is starting to show the pace and show that ultra low, even on an ultra low circuit, isn't good enough. Martin Brundle's 9th with John Watson hounding him now. Watson's obviously back on it, and he just needs to get an overtake done through the middle sector or capitalise on a twitch, and once he's through it should be gone, as everyone's shown really these ultra low cars. Get past them. If you can survive their attack back down the back straights with all their power, you can disappear. So Watson 10th, he's up 3 places, so 2KF1 are sitting on double top 10 at the moment. We'll see how that ends up, but again, they just want to finish at this point. Valentino Rossi and Fernando Alonso 11th and 12th for Siggy Pop, so Rossi, who actually started 4th on the grid, has really dropped back. Alonso started 16th, has flown up, but lots of power, no grip. Put it this way, if you're watching this far and you've got ultra low, save up your money and buy some downforce, because it really is not working. It was a gamble not to change it, and it hasn't worked for you guys. Especially as next race is Imola. You want some downforce for that, guys. You really do. Michael Schumacher 13th for Bangalore. It's not been kind to Bangalore, I think. They just haven't got the power of the Harveys and Siggy Pop, so being part of the ultra low brigade, they're just screwed. Andretti in 14th, again, ultra low brigade, nothing you can do about it. Dan Gurney. Heidfeld, actually, he hasn't had to pit, but Jim Clark, who has, and has got more power and better downforce for this circuit, is flying up behind. Heidfeld is it's just not been kind, this for High Tech. They had a chance to put some engine power in it to try and, burst through their drag. It didn't work. They didn't go for it, and it's showing here. They're struggling, but put some power in it. Imola, they'll be really good at Imola. Imola's a grip circuit, so look out for the next race. The high downforce will come into its own for the next few races, actually, so we'll see, but they need some high attrition if they want to get anything out of this race, because it's a disaster otherwise. Jim Clark 17th, pit stop early in the race, dropped back 17th because of a bit of a collision on the first lap. Red Knight needs to salvage what they can out of this, because it's all gone down the toilet really. Actually, we'll just stick with this. Red Knight on board. Oh, he's just flown past Heidfeld. Heidfeld's got nothing. Look, 172, that's 184 miles an hour. Even in the slipstream, Heidfeld's got no answer. Fangio 18th, home race for the Argentinian. He just got caught out by Gurney. He didn't have great qualifying anyway, so it's a shame. Red Knight, they finally moved the upgrade to low downforce after last round. They've got more power than 2KF1 Racing. So theoretically they should be up where 2KF1 are, but drivers are good. It just hasn't worked out for him yet. It's a shame. Same as, for instance, our last rainy car, and he's about to be lapped by Fabian Barthez. Yes, he did have to pit at the end of the first lap, but it's faster. There you go, see what I mean? Blue flagging on this circuit is very easy because you've got some very long, very wide straights. You have plenty of time to make your move and get out of the way. Villeneuve, actually, quite interestingly, has dropped Hoy, apparently, it seems. Hoy is falling back, so Villeneuve letting him through. Obviously he decided that he was tearing his tyres up trying to defend, and I thought, just go. Just go. Barthez is far enough away. Teammate will be fine. Don't need to worry anymore. So here we go, back to battle for 9th is getting interesting again, as Watson hasn't got past Brundle yet, and Rossi's thought, thank you very much, I can take the position back. Oh, the wrong way. I have pushed the right button. So Brundle here, sat behind looking at Rossi, another ultra low downforce boy. Watson actually falling back towards the clutches of Alonso. So Watson doesn't have the power of these guys. He's got some downforce, but he's not like got a load like the high-techs do. So, oh, big slide for Rossi there. Massive slide. Watson has to send it here. Watson, how did you not capitalise on that? Unless Watson's had to like jump out the throttle to avoid pile driving into the back out of Siggy Pop. Still, who knows? But as it is, Rossi has just disappeared and left Watson in his wheel tracks, but gets to some corners, and that's not the concertina effect. That is Watson completely out driving Rossi because he's got the grip. Rossi pulls away though. Big, 196. 196 is what Rossi was doing into that corner, and Watson was only 186. 185 through the tunnel. Rossi's had a big slide through there. It's already overcome Watson. And he's just disappearing. Take a look. Rossi's hit the 200 mile an hour mark. That's 203 before the breaking point, and Watson's only at 192. So Watson's just not fast enough to get past these two, because they're teaming up and stopping him getting through, and because he hasn't got past and then disappeared like Hackman did on Button, he's just stuck. He's clearly faster, but he just can't do it. Villeneuve has now put a lap on Frentzen. Bartez's 6-second lead is steady, it's the same, but it's still getting bigger. We're not really changing. Once again, Rossi's now on the defensive for Watson, and I think he's actually setting up an attack on Brundle. He is. So Valentino Rossi, they're on the same downforce package. Brundle is the slightly faster car down the straights, but oh, big slide from Rossi. Is Watson close enough to capitalise? I don't think so. No, he's not. So Rossi, slightly less power, but he's in the slipstream. What's he going to do here? Bit of a twitch. He's actually having to really get up to 160. See that he had to go down to 164, whereas Watson was flat through that 180. Watson, if it weren't for the fact that this was the longest straight on the track, if there was a bonus hairpin about here, Watson would have had Rossi. As it was, Rossi basically threw away a chance of getting Brundle. And Brundle says, oh thanks, I can break into this corner unaided. Rossi, what are you doing sliding there, mate? you're on to the bit where Watson can actually get past you, and if you want to let him do that, I don't know. Watson just needs to bide his time. Well, he can't, he just needs to get on with it. But these corners aren't really the overtaking spot. It's into the final hairpin. After the fast chicane. All the drivers were having issues before. Rossi had a big slide there last lap. See, Brundle and Rossi were not confident through that, but Watson just is not carrying enough speed through there to just send it. He hasn't got the confidence to just chuck it up the inside and see what happens. I mean, he's got an okay aggressiveness stat compared to the guys around him, really. So he's certainly got it in him, but obviously he's just not confident enough to just send it, because that's what he needs to do. That final corner is the place he needs to get past. He needs to really shove Rossi wide, hold him up. So there's a chance. Oh, big twitcheroo from Rossi there, and Watson. That's what he's needed to do for so long. Capitalise on a mistake from the Siggy Pop driver, and Rossi. Big twitch in the turbulent air from the Harvey, and Watson is through. We'll just come back to that. Where was it? Rossi. Here we go. So off-board shot. As we head into the top corners, into the big long turn 3, a bit wide. Yeah, it's just unbalanced in the middle of the corner. It's big slide as he's got into the turbulent air behind Watson. Rossi. He's not going to enjoy that replay, put it that way. So what did Watson say? So Rossi, you can see he's wide compared to Brundle, and then there's the twitch. Gets out of the throttle, get a pass, and Watson says, thank you very much, and I've got the grip to still take this corner flat out, even though I'm on the inside line. Brilliant move there from John Watson, but watch this, Rossi, he's trying to send it. He had the power to catch it, but Rossi, oh, massive twitch on the brakes, almost spins it. Oh, it's gone again! He's tried. What is Rossi doing here? There must be something wrong with that car. He's been absolutely leery. I mean, I know there's no grip on it. There's no downforce on the thing at all. I mean, it nearly gets past Watson again. Again, straight was a tiny bit longer, he'd be through. Too much curb. Oh, must have cooked the rear tyres in that. And then he goes through here. He's on the curb and Alonso's going to get him if he's not careful. Yes, we get it. Watson's through and you're annoyed. But don't try and throw it away like that, man. I know. Still, Watson's is really close to Brundle here, actually, now. Through the hairpin, we got a bit of a straight cut. Oh, Watson had to... Bit of wheel spin. He screwed it up. Brundle takes a lot of curb. Watson doesn't. Can he send it? He can't. He can't. And Rossi's... Don't know if he's close enough. I don't know if he's close enough to get past Watson. But he's got the power. He certainly has the power to do it. I'd say if it was the other way around, if it was Rossi in front and Brundle behind, Brundle would definitely have the power. Because he's got... Remember, Harvey's slightly more power than the Siggy Pops. No. He can't do it through there. He can't do it through the high-speed corners. And Brundle is now pulling away. But I don't think Rossi can carry enough speed through these corners. 164 versus 185. Watson's almost pinned at 180. Rossi's nowhere. But he can't. He has to just stay in the slipstream and accept that Brundle's going to disappear down this next straight. Just has to accept it. Stay with him. Try and be dragged along. And then get him on the brakes into here. Or follow him through here. Get him at the next section of corners. But unless he makes a catastrophic mistake, I think it's safe to say John Watson has properly passed Valentino Rossi. Unless Brundle really holds him up, Rossi isn't close enough. Watson's up behind Brundle. Brundle's a bit loose off the corner. How's Watson going to do it? Well, Brundle pulls away. And actually, I think Watson's had an awful exit because Rossi's got really close. But next corner, loses it all. Goes to the inside and has a little look. But needs to send it. And that wasn't really a send it position. So that's a shame. Shame for Watson, but yeah, he's still got it on Rossi. And he's just going to catch up through this corner. Very easily. He's going to disappear down the straights. But turn 3-4. Big long back section. This is where all the pace comes back. This corner is where the ultra low downforce really suffer. Like, they are so slow through that corner. They might approach the corner at 190 miles an hour, but they have to take it at 160. Whereas if the low downforce can approach it at 180 and take it at 180. Screws them off the next section of corners, but you got to live with what you can do. Brundle really loose at that corner now. Watson is close. If he can just send it into this hairpin, I think this is probably looking like Watson's best chance actually. He's super close to Brundle. You can just keep it close to this next corner and have the better exit. Not be scared if Brundle makes a mistake. Oh, he's done it! Brundle is just going a bit slow on the exit and Watson is jumping out the throttle in response. This is not the kind of driving you want to see. If you're trying to make a pass, that's not the way you do it. That really is not the way you've got to do it. Rossi's are quite far back now. So what's happening here? Jim Clark has caught up onto Dan Gurney into the final corner. Clark, yeah, of course he started 10th, so Red Knight, decent grid slot for them. Going side by side here. 0.96 versus 0.98 power. The Excelsior has slightly more power than the Red Knight, but the Red Knight has the low downforce. As stated earlier, they were the only guys to upgrade their downforce before this race. And I was going to say it's worked out for them. They've definitely got the downforce that seems to be the best for this circuit. But they've just not had any luck. 2 new front wings in the first couple of laps. It's really not helped them at all. But look at this, Clark's flown out there, but he just pulls out the slipstream too early. Nothing you can do there. And you got to feel sorry for the high-tech. He's falling back. He's hamstrung by too much downforce. I think going straight to high downforce at the beginning was a good gamble, and it certainly could pay off because it's a really expensive upgrade to get. And for the next few races like Imola, Brands Hatch, Laguna Seca, you want as much downforce as you can get on that car. So to be honest, if you're on low downforce and you get 2,000 credits, I would consider getting the high downforce. If you've got enough power in the car to overcome it, get the upgrade because you're going to want it for the next few races. But they didn't put anything in power. They are running on 0.89 power. The next lowest car is set on 0.95, and that's the 2KF1, which is currently sat in 7th. If Hightech had put something into engine power, they might have been okay, especially if it was back end of the circuit. But it's the fact that they're approaching these corners that they can, the low downforce cars are taking the top corner at 180 miles an hour. The high downforce cars would probably take it 190 if they could get there, but they're only doing it at 175 or something. So when you can't capitalise on where your car is good, nothing you can do at all. 22 laps in, Barthez still leading, Villeneuve in second, and Hoy is, well, he's dropped back, so it was obviously the right move to let him through. De Angelis is fourth. De Vries and Verstappen, they're just working together in no man's land. it's not as dominant performance from De Vries as it was last time, but I suppose his lack of a finish probably stopped the team getting what they needed. Slightly more expensive upgrades wouldn't have helped. So Hakkinen in 7th, showing what the 2KF1 can do. Button and Harvey. This battle for 9th is still going. Harvey is... the Harveys are doing good. Button has disappeared as Brundle is just holding up Watson. The Harvey team, Harvey Racing, they will know that Watson is a risk to Button. And if he gets released, he will probably fly up to him. And look, what's that? 42.0 is the best lap for Watson. The 42.3 is the best lap for Brundle. So Watson has 3/10 on Brundle, absolutely. And this has probably all been in traffic as well. So Watson's been trapped behind him for quite a while. So he's probably just desperately hoping Brundle makes a mistake, a bit like Rossi did. Watson is right on his back, but he's had to get out the throttle to avoid rear-ending Brundle. And then Brundle's disappeared because that's the worst place on the lap for Watson to lift off. In fact, Rossi, look at this, 200 miles an hour. Has to go to the brakes so much earlier. Oh, big slide. Really big slide for Rossi. He does that, he gets a load of speed, he throws it away on the curb. Rossi, he likes being on the curb. It hasn't helped. It really hasn't helped him yet. Any way, shape or form. Watson's just sat there, again biding his time. Brundle's had a bad exit, but he's got so much power, it's just disappeared. Watson didn't even get a especially bad exit himself. Brundle big slide. He just can't. He can't even send it to scare him. You know, Watson needs to just try and scare Brundle. If he scares him in the right place, might make a mistake that allows Watson through. And as long as Watson is ahead by the end of that back straight, he's then got the entire middle sector to just disappear, and then he will be safe. He just can't. And I mean, look, Alonso's close enough to Rossi to... Well, no, he's not. Rossi's nowhere. Brundle's out wide. Well, look, let's see this. So Brundle is going to be taking this second corner, slightly tighter one. He's going to lift 169. Watson right on him, but he pulls out the slipstream, and then it's goodbye. Get back in that slipstream and stay there, John. Stay there and you'll have plenty of time to just follow him down this straight, get him in the middle sector. Try and send it into this hairpin maybe. Brundle's had a big slide. Big slide. This is a chance, but he's not taking it, has he? Rossi's just sat there watching going, I should be in this. And Alonso's actually closed up. Concertina maybe? But whatever. Watson now behind Brundle. It's close. He's actually really close here. It's probably the closest Watson's been for a while. He's not lost as much time through that corner. Is he going to send it? Is he going to send it? He's not. He's... Come on, man. I'm trying to hype you up, John. You can do this. You can get him. You can get him your teammate who's flown past the Harveys quite easily. Why aren't you? Actually, here we go. The Siggy Pops are getting close to Alonso. Big slide through turn 1. Oh, what a save from the Spaniard. Well, it's his first time actually close to another car for a while. And I think just the aerodynamic displacement from the car in front has just changed his downforce. And he's taken a different line. He's just hit the curb and good save. Good save. I'll give him that. But yeah, I mean, Siggy Pop, they raced together well last race. Well, I say that, they hit each other at turn 4 and ruined each other's race. And then Rossi spent an extra lap driving around that front wing, held everyone up, which made everyone really happy. As Mario Andretti has spun off at turn 2, and he's just driven back onto the track and hits his teammate. Incredible driving. And that is a complete and utter disaster for Excelsior Formula Racing. So what's happened here? He's just gone a bit wide. Oh, Clark was there on the inside. Now, was there contact? I don't know, but Andretti's pinned it, and bang! No! He's hit Gurney, and that's both of them out. That is one of the most... Yeah, no, there's nothing good about this. So, Clark's had a look. Oh, no. Clark has sent Mario into the spin. That is horrific to see. So Andretti's not quite happy, and he's on the ultra low downforce. So Clark's thought about it. He's gone wide. He's tiny flips. You can't really tell. There was definitely contact from Clark, so he's put his foot down, and he's not lifted off, and someone's hit him, and it was his teammate. Oh, this is so bad for Excelsior. So into turn 1, the yellow flags are out. Clearly see the yellow flags. There's a cloud of dust, and he just I can see Andretti losing his drive after that. That was utterly just despicable driving. Not only has he just randomly driven back on the circuit without even thinking at one of the fastest points on the track, at the extra one of the fastest corners, he's actually gone and hit someone. Not only hit someone, he's hit his teammate. And Excelsior, they're at the back. They need some money to get some downforce on that car. What they didn't need was to be the second and third retirements of the race. Shock horror, in all of this mess, John Watson has passed Martin Brundle. Finally! So, is this what has happened? So, Brundle, through the long corner, he's had a bit of a slide. And Watson has finally decided to send it up the inside into the hairpin. And now it's the middle sector, of course. He's got the grip. Got the grip to get past Brundle. He's got the grip to disappear. And hopefully do what I've been saying for the last 5 laps. But only 5, it's been like 10 laps. That's compressed everything, so Brundle's now got Rossi behind him, and Alonso is looking really racy here. He wants to get past his teammate. But can he? He's going to sit back, so we now got Watson with his low downforce and not so powerful car with 3 very powerful cars sat behind him. What's going to happen? I'll just sit on board with Alonso for a moment and watch what happens. So they're all getting twitchy as Watson is flying off. Actually, that gap has increased so much through those first 2 corners. Brundle's closing up to Watson, but losing it all straight away as we get to a braking point. Well, braking point for him, just a flat out corner for Watson. Look at that, bottom left hand corner, 1.2 seconds. 1.3 is the gap, and it's 1.346 when it gets before it finally starts closing up. But that's it. Watson is gone, unless Watson makes a mistake. Look at that, Alonso on the limiter at 208 miles an hour. That was incredible. So he is in 3 slipstreams and has a lot of power. He's looking quick. Very quick down the straights, but absolutely useless everywhere else. Button now, he's coming up to lap behind Frentzen, so Frentzen's now going to be lapped by 8th place. Surprisingly, actually no, it's going to, yeah, no, that's not the place to be let through. It really isn't, and Frentzen is not doing much for Button. It's a middle sector, it's the only point on the lap where Frentzen can gain time. Not that there's any point in him doing that. There you go, he finally lets him through. But that has lost him a load of time to Hakkinen, who was 20 seconds behind Verstappen, who is actually now right behind his teammate. Now, this is certainly an interesting one. Verstappen, championship leader, race winner from the last round. De Vries should have won the last round. He was on pole. He led every lap until his engine gave up into the final corner. But look at this, Verstappen, he was ahead, but De Vries had the racing line and was better on the brakes. So the NLE is here, looking really close to each other, really starting to, well, put in some entertainment. The all-Dutch team, Dutch manager, not going to try and pronounce his surname because I still can't really remember how to do it, unfortunately, Leslie, because I know that every time anyone not Dutch tries to pronounce it, you complain that we're saying it wrong, so I'm just going to leave that one alone, I think. But Leslie's going to be sat there watching Verstappen and De Vries battling. Actually, as Verstappen thinks about sending it into the final corner, there is contact. Tiny contact, a touring car nudge. As the two of them are now side by side through the final kink onto the start-finish line. Verstappen ahead of De Vries now. But De Vries has got the outside line to turn one as they're right with each other into the fastest section of corners on the track. De Vries has the inside line for turn two. Verstappen on the outside, they're still side by side down the next straight. We're going to go on board with De Vries as Verstappen has it ahead. And De Vries gets some slipstream. Thinks about it, the inside of this corner, are they going to get close? They're super close to the fast double right hand of 3 and 4. De Vries back up the inside, he's got the inside line. De Vries, amazing, takes it back. Verstappen takes all the curb. He's going to be in the slipstream. What can he do here? 194, 195 miles an hour, he's got the inside, he's going to send up the inside into the braking point. But De Vries keeps the position. Later on the brakes, carries more speed into the corner. What excitement from the two enemy motorsport drivers. That was brilliant movement, brilliant driving, absolutely balls to the wall, side by side through, well, to be honest, 4 of the fastest corners on the calendar. You know, 180 miles an hour, side by side through the top of the track. We've got to have a watch of that again. Go on board here with De Vries. And we'll go cockpit cam so we can see the speed. So 185 miles an hour they're turning in side by side and still leaving each other space. 180 was the lowest they went. The second part of the corner, 184 miles an hour is what De Vries was doing. Verstappen on the outside, 185 miles an hour is the point that he decides, maybe not today. But that was absolutely incredible. Well held, well driven, fantastic. Jim Clark now up behind Michael Schumacher, the guy who, well, I think Mr. Lutz, the manager of Excelsior, is going to have a few things to say to the Scot, because, well, his actions ultimately led to the demise of both of his cars, and yeah, he's not going to be happy with that. The only solace for Excelsior is going to be, yeah, they're not going to have a lot of money, but they might get a bit cheaper upgrades at the next market, which isn't going to be much solace really for Excelsior. Unfortunately, this is a race where everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. It's tragic. And there's Clark up the inside of Schumacher. He just drove clean up the inside of him. That is what Watson should have done so long ago, but he never did. And it's taken him forever. Because I mean, look, Brunner's got past Frentzen on an easy part of the track. Watson's probably had to do it at a harder part, but look at that. He's 3 seconds up the road. I said ages ago, those ultra low cars, they're just not quick. They just aren't quick. Even on the track where they should be quick, they just aren't quick. And as soon as Watson was through, he's gone. He disappeared. I mean, we'll just pay attention to this, actually. It's about 4 or 5 seconds between Button and Watson. We'll see how long it takes for that to close up, because we haven't got to the pit window yet. Yeah, but Verstappen's obviously decided to question the better part of valour as he's letting De Vries disappear. Well, not disappear, but he's not quite as side by side as he was. De Angelis is still plugging away in fourth. He is miles ahead of De Vries and miles behind Hoy. Hoy, who conversely is miles ahead of De Angelis, they're miles behind Villeneuve. Same thing for Villeneuve, miles ahead of Hoy, miles behind Barthez, who is happily plugging away in the lead. That lead has been 7 seconds for pretty much since Villeneuve got past Hoy. And it's not really changed at all for the DTK driver. So Fabien Barthez, nice commanding lead. DTK were a bit underpowered last round, but spent most of their winnings from the last round on power and have really shot up the leaderboard. It would have been their drivers' speeds. The drivers are a bit better at coping with the power. Obviously it's not as much as they could have spent if they weren't leading the championship, but you know, they might be leading, but if I hadn't put that rule in, they'd be leading a lot more, put it this way. So I mean, we'll see. It can always be adjusted later for future series. So those of you who are watching and who don't know or can't remember, depending on your constructors' standings, if you're first in the championship, your price for everything goes up quite considerably. If you're second and third, it goes up from normal by a little bit, kind of halfway in between. And anything from 4th to 8th, you're just spending the normal amount of money on your upgrades. If you're 9th and 10th, everything gets a little bit cheaper. And in the event that we get more constructors, anyone 11th and further down in the Constructors' Championship will have really cheap upgrades, like super cheap upgrades. So it's a way of, you know, allowing teams at the back a chance to catch up a bit, and allowing teams or stopping the teams at front disappearing so much. I mean, this is season 1, so by the end of the season, everyone will kind of have seen what upgrades work and what upgrades weren't. So I don't think I will need to change it that much for future seasons. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes, but it's certainly working to stop DTK absolutely flying away. NLE, they won the race. They're second in the Constructors' Championship, so they're probably not, you know, it has hamstrung them a bit. They were really quick last time round, and it's not, you know, they've not been able to spend so much to fly away. Obviously, it's going to be disappointing for them, but for everyone else, someone else a chance to go up the front. And Harvey, I think the thing is, they were unlucky to be third in the Constructors' Championship, really, because they're still ultra low downforces. Button gets it really low, therefore proving my point that they're struggling for grip out there. They didn't need to come third because they're third in the championship because of attrition and because of luck and because they got 2 cars to the finish near the front. They needed the upgrades to be a bit cheaper because they didn't have the pace. That was just a lot of cars in front of them were blowing up. In fact, well, Gilles Villeneuve, Ike Hakkinen, John Watson, actually, I think even Nick Heidfeld. It was only really Dan Gurney was behind. As actually here, this is interesting, as Alonso and Rossi are going side by side. And unfortunately, the cameras were the static camera through there, so I didn't see any of that. But you get my point. Harvey, their car is slow, they got lucky. So Rossi and Alonso side by side through the chicane. They both had simultaneous slides through the corner, synchronised skidding, and Rossi somehow manages to keep the position. What is going on with teammates going side by side with each other? NLE showed absolute mastery of how to go side by side with each other without screwing each other over. Siggy Pop show how to go side by side with each other and completely balls it up, but still managed to come out the corner together and not in a wall. That could have so easily gone wrong in every way imaginable, but they didn't. I mean, it did go wrong in that Brundle, who they were right behind, is now 4 seconds ahead of them. So it was a complete and utter disaster. but boy was that spectacular. So I said keep an eye on the Watson to Button difference, and it's not really changing actually. Button, he is slightly quicker in terms of speed and minimum racing skill actually over Watson, and I think that is obviously just enough to keep him about the same pace. I mean, Button is close. It's not really changing with the Hakkinen either. Verstappen now is dropped 2.5 seconds behind his teammate De Vries. So De Vries, he won their little battle, and now he's pulling away. So he's trying to say that yes, you may have won the last race and you may be leading the championship, but remember that was my race you won and my championship you're leading. So I think De Vries now, with his name spelled correctly, I'm sorry, is now trying to stake his claim back in this team and say it might be you might have all the points, but I'm number one. I am number one in this team. Hoy is definitely looking kind of second best in DTK at the moment. And I think Villeneuve is also doing a similar thing to De Angelis, Villeneuve, who, like De Vries, should have had a comfortable second place last time out, and didn't because of his engine, is also trying to say to De Angelis, yes, you might be second in the championship and you might have almost won that race, but remember it should have been me doing that. So for De Vries and Villeneuve, this race is all about redemption. I mean, Villeneuve has just set fastest lap of 1:40.3. And he is starting to slightly catch Barthez, but it's still a long way to go. He's got still a long way to catch up. Really, he's just got to hope Barthez catches a back marks to head into the fiddly hairpins at the end of the lap and the chicane, because that's where it's tough to get past. We've seen Frentzen just holding people up through there. He's going, hang on, no, this is the only part of the track where I'm quick. I want this. Well, as you can see, actually, Jim Clark here is screwed over by Frentzen, because Frentzen's he has to get out of the way. He wants to get out of the way, but he really doesn't want to. He doesn't want to get out of the way, but he has to. And this is the wrong part. Really is the wrong part of the track for him. Clark is going to be getting frustrated there. Look at Frentzen still. Clark's just bumped him out of the way because he's being so impetuous there. I mean, that was 13th place lapping Frentzen. And yes, he has had to make it. But what is Heidfeld doing? What? Nick Heidfeld has just. I don't even know. So look, it's 172 miles an hour into this corner, and he just started to brake in the middle of it for the second corner to let Hakkinen through. For no reason. 63 miles an hour. 63 miles an hour through a corner that Mika Hakkinen would normally be taking at 180. That is a third of the speed he should be doing. And no wonder Hakken's hit the brakes. Heidfeld is completely blocking his route, and look, he's really tentative on the way. He's come out that corner thinking, well, what kind of enormous accident has he seen that I haven't? And he comes out the corner and there's nothing. There's no yellow flags, there's no green flag at the next post. He's just sat there going, I've just lost 4 seconds for nothing. I mean, there's going to be words. There's going to be words. Frentzen and Clark have been the bad boys of this week. Because Button, what is he doing there? Absolutely sideways, like an absolute madman. So that Heidfeld lets Button straight through. Button does lift off as he thinks, ooh, what is that high-tech doing? I don't know. Catches the Hakkinen, hits the curb, loses the rear. Next curb, and no. Oh. When you're trying to catch up to a car that's better than you in the corners, don't try and do what he can in the corners, because you're not going to be able to. Button has a car for the straights, and he just needs to live with that and accept that. Just keep it calm through the corners, blast off down the straights. Don't hit the curbs and try and spin, because any time that you want to gain, you're just going to throw away. Not get back. Get up the front seems to have gone out a bit between Villeneuve and Barthez. So we'll see how it is. Hawaii is still in no man's land. De Angelis is even more in no man's land. Freeze has got Verstappen close again. It's back up to 1 second. Back down to 1.2 seconds rather than 2.5 a few laps ago. So this battle isn't over for 5th place to the NLEs for pride and championship standings. Hakkinen now 7th with Button getting close. That's interesting. So bottom left hand corner, in case you didn't notice it from the last race, is the spanner in red gear, which is indicating that they're coming into the pits this lap. Is anyone else coming in? No, I think Jenson Button, a lot of power left, is probably draining the fuel quite a lot, or he's just burning through power. But Jenson Button is going to be our first driver to make a scheduled fuel stop, because there's no damage on that car, and unless his tyres are torn up. I mean, if he's sliding like that, of course he's burning through as much fuel as possible. And the leaders are considering it at the moment, but I think we're going to stick with Button. Start heading towards the pits. So, lap 35 we're on, we're heading towards the hour mark. We could, try and do the mental maths. I can't be bothered, to be honest. I think we're probably going to just about hit the 1 hour 30 mark before. We'll probably hit the 1 hour 30 mark a few laps from the end. So because it's such a fast track, squeaky bum time for engines probably isn't going to be that long during the race. And of course, a few more teams have come up with some upgrades to their reliability, which should restrict that being a problem. It actually has a really good stop, 6.9 seconds for the Harvey pit crew. They've done some good job with their working. So, new tyres, a bit more fuel. Let's see where he comes out. So he's 13th as it is. Heinz French has just unlapped himself, but he's going to side by side with Schumacher into turn 1. Actually, he cuts him straight off. Schumacher gets a big slide out of that corner then. There's suddenly a Harley in the way. So Button now actually has both high-techs in front of him in 17th and 16th. Frentzen has got past Heidfeld. Heidfeld has also been losing, either he's pitted or he's been losing so much time just ruining everybody else's races. Actually, he's just ruined Schumacher and Fangio and everyone again. It's what? Heidfeld's going to cause some problems. Actually, Alonso has got past Rossi at some point in the last few laps. I missed that. If you saw it in the timing screen on the left, tell me how many laps ago I missed that. That'd be quite nice if you're watching this in the comments or on the RaceDepartment forum. But Fernando Alonso looks like he's going to be the next car into the pits. None of the top guys looking to come in either. Alonso's going to hit the brakes because it's a really tight pit entry at the exit of that fast chicane. Just got to hope that your teammate's paying attention that you're coming in and isn't going to pile drive you through that second part of the corner. So what will be interesting to see is Button's first full hot lap after the pit stop. He's on new tyres, got some fuel back in the car, and he's got clean air. How's he going to do? So of course he's probably going to come out past Alonso because he was a long way ahead of Alonso before the pit stop. So it's going to all depend on how much his race was ruined by Frentzen. But now Alonso has really dropped back behind Schumacher and Fangio. And actually Nick Heidfeld has been lapped a second time, so I think, well, let's have a look at his tyres. No, those are all tyres. He is just, there you go, Heidfeld's coming in this lap, so he's just last on pure terrible pace and also being useless at being blue flagged. So Bartes to Villeneuve, the gap is still about 6 seconds. It's real time, so it seems to adjust itself in the braking points for corners as well. So it's not really consistent. I think for next race I might put it, rather than real time, make it sectors. So actually, I think Bartes, who's been really held up there by, who's in 15th? It'll be Alonso. And he's just lapped Alonso, and Alonso has not been any help to Fabian Bartes at all. Maybe not. Or maybe it was through the top corner, as Alonso hit the brakes. No, unless it is concertina effect, Villeneuve has just caught up to him. So Chris Hoy is the first of our leaders who is going to be pitting this lap. As Mika Häkkinen's also coming in, as is Valentino Rossi and Michael Schumacher. Fangio gets out of the way of Bartes, our race leader, and suddenly finds Alonso right up behind him. Alonso was recently pitted, so he's got fresh tyres, and I think that's going to have not helped Bartes, because that's the wrong part of the circuit. Actually, it hasn't. No, Villeneuve has found 3 seconds on that lap. Look at that, 43.8. 43.0 for Bartes and 41.0 for Villeneuve. That's 2 seconds, and Villeneuve's had to go round the outside into turn 1 of Fernando Alonso, which is going to have lost him some time, but it's not as much as it probably could have done. Villeneuve just has to hope that Fangio, car ahead, doesn't decide to do some Heidfeld shenanigans into turn 4. He doesn't. He's fine. De Angelis is coming in this lap, so Hoy exits the pit. So, this is it, race for 4th. How will Chris Hoy deal with the attack from De Angelis? Well, he's got no lap traffic around him, so he should be quite fine actually. Verstappen is actually getting quite close to De Vries, and it's a vital time to do it, because De Vries is coming into the pits at the end of this lap. Go on board with the Dutchman, chasing the Dutchman in the Dutch car, in Dutch colours. I think you can tell this team's from the Netherlands. So Verstappen's closing in on De Vries, is in the slipstream. Always helpful to happen. He's closing up 3/10, but can't find a way through really. Watson has now got Heidfeld as we come out into that dreaded Heidfeld corner. What's Heidfeld going to do? He's going to let him through, he's going to let him through. Oh! Heidfeld goes for the probably more scarier, but better route of letting someone through that corner. Front late, he's going to be pitting as well, as Rossi lets through De Angelis, as Alonso, big slide again through turn 1. Keeps it going though. Fangio, he doesn't have the power, that's the problem. He's going to have the grip through this corner to catch up to Rossi. Not going to have the grip though. He's very wide through turn 3. Turn 4 is where he should catch up to the Rossi, but Rossi just flicks a bit of dirt at him, like I think it was Häkkinen did to him early in the race. De Angelis and De Vries pit, and Hoy is really close to Verstappen here. So what's happened here? So, De Vries has pitted and Verstappen hasn't expected it, and Verstappen has lost a lot of time in that. Let's just see this. So the team obviously haven't told him De Vries is coming in. De Vries is actually, that wasn't good for De Vries. And Hoy is close right up to Verstappen now. Both got low downforce, but the DTK has slightly more power, and he's in the slipstream and had a better exit, so this is why Hoy's chucked up the inside in turn 1. Actually that was really brave from the Brit. The Scotsman, the Olympian, the 6-time Olympic cycling gold medalist, has got really close to Max Verstappen there, a championship leader, and sent it into turn 1. That was a brave move. Can he get past Verstappen? I mean, this is losing him time. I mean, not really to De Angelis, who's miles behind, or to Villeneuve, who's miles ahead. But we'll see what Hoy can do. Pulls out the slipstream. Gonna go up the inside into turn 5. He's got the racing line, but Verstappen outbraves him on the brakes. Verstappen wider through there. Hoy's got a good exit, but he's just letting him go through the next corner. Verstappen is coming in this lap, so maybe Hoy's thinking, fine, it's alright, you're about to disappear out my way anyway, doesn't really matter. I'm not racing you, you're not racing me, you're not really racing anybody. As in fact, Barthez and Villeneuve have come in the pits at the same time. Our race leaders have pitted together, and well, as we saw from that, Barthez left first, but we'll just see if Hoy and Verstappen have any shenanigans into here. No, Verstappen comes in, Hoy just has to let him go. Barthez flies out the pits. Schumacher has got in between them. That is going to be really handy for Barthez. And actually, there's 2 lapped cars in between. 2 lappers between Barthez and Villeneuve, and Barthez has pulled out a gap. So, 15th, that's Schumacher and Frentzen are between the 2 of them. And actually, I think Schumacher's lapped Frentzen, judging by that. So the high-techs have just turned up with... It's just all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong for high-tech. Verstappen has lost so much time with Hoy there. He's lost so much time with Hoy, and De Vries has pulled the gap on Verstappen. Verstappen's going to have to hope that his extra lap or 2 of tyres is going to mean something in these last 8 laps. Clark pits. Places. Watson has actually got past Jenson Button. Watson has passed Button, and that is actually quite incredible. I mean, I say that, Button has just passed into turn 1. No, he's not. Watson holds it. Watson holds it with his higher downforce. Hakkins coming out in 7th. He's half a minute behind Verstappen. But Watson gets his 2KF1 into 8th place, and he's just going to battle with the Harvey of Jenson Button. He's ahead at the moment. This is probably Button's only chance. Oh, he's had a big slide. Yeah, I think that's it. I think chance is gone. Chance has got to be gone. I think Watson is going to pull away here. He has the faster car. Not in a straight line, but ran the entire lap. In fact, it's Chris Hoy in 3rd place. Fastest lap, first sub 1 minute 40 lap of the race. Very clever. So Hoy hadn't been released, he's had a lap chasing someone and just thought, wow, I've not got much longer on these tyres, let's burn them to hell. It's De Angelis. De Angelis in 4th. Hears about that and thinks, no, I'm going to have that fastest lap, thank you very much. Villeneuve's lost so much time to Barthez. 13 seconds. It's... since the pit stops, the lapped cars have just destroyed it for Villeneuve. Hoy flies past the high-tech into turn 5. Frentzen had nothing he could do. I mean, I know he was lifting and I know he's going down another lap, but still, that was... it must have been horrible to watch for the high-tech manager. Looks like there's a decent battle going on for 11th, I think, because at the front it's, apart from maybe the battle for 2nd, which might appear as a thing, it's all looking a bit close. But here we go. Siggy Pop versus, well, Fangio's about to pit and get out of the way, but Siggy Pop versus Red Knight. So Alonso, 13th place for the Siggy Pop racing team. Got more power than Fangio. And Fangio's got more downforce. We'll have to see how this goes. And the second of the corners is Chris Hoy sets another fastest lap, so they're having a bit of a battle between DK and De Angelis. So we'll see if De Angelis can do anything. But Alonso pulls out the slipstream. Look at that. Fangio had absolutely no defence to the power. Feel the power of the Siggy Pop. That was incredible. Nothing he could do. Fangio's he's 13th. He's about to pit. It's actually gone really... Is he trying to let his teammate through? Don't know. Verstappen now, second fastest lap, 1:39.5. So they've all pitted, they've not put much fuel in to get to the end of the race, and they've all got new tyres, and they're all flying. Clark is get past no, I think Clark's about to find Fangio completely block him as he goes into the pits. Which, oh, that was, I thought reliability woes in about 10 minutes was going to be squeaky bum time, but that was a bit of a clench, I think, is the best way to put it. Fangio just, whatever works. Yeah, look, Frentzen has been lapped by Michael Schumacher ahead of him. Everything that could have gone wrong for Heidek has gone wrong. Well, we'll have a look at the times. Dan Gurney missing the wheel, Mario Andretti also missing the wheel, Sergio Perez missing the back wheel. So, yeah, it couldn't have gone much worse for Excelsior. It really couldn't. The only way it could have gone worse is if Perez hadn't did an F before them. They do manage to at least get 200 credits for each car rather than 100 for one of them. They're just going to have to live with that, unfortunately, and this could be season over. I mean, let's hope they get lucky in the next few rounds to bring them back into it, you know. Finish the race in a bit of an attritional race. Imola could be an absolute bloodbath of a race. There's big curves there. Racing could get messy. Who knows? Barthez, though, 5 laps to go, is comfortably ahead of Villeneuve. Villeneuve is just not having fun with the back markers. Bangalore of Michael Schumacher's just going to let Villeneuve through. Let's hope. Hang on, I think that is the rear wing of. It is the rear wing of Nick Heidfeld. He has lost it down at the chicane. How and why has that happened? It's Hakkinen. So Heidfeld is seeing the blue flags for Hakkinen. Is he? He's. What are you doing, Heidfeld? What is he doing? This is the second time that Heidfeld has just stopped on an apex in front of Mika Hakkinen. The second time this race. What are you doing, Nick? What are you doing? Now, Hakkinen's had his race ruined there. He's having to pit for a new front wing from, what was that, 6th, 7th place? No. 2KF1 not having any luck. At least he's not out the race yet. Please don't be a commentator's curse. Because I did that to De Vries last race, I think, as everyone pointed out. So, if Hakkinen does retire, I'm sorry. So, Bartez's lead is comfortable, I'd say. Villeneuve is second. It's 5 laps between him and Hoy. Hoy's just driven into Schumacher at the hairpin. I don't know whose fault that was. I don't really care, to be honest, because they've got away with it fine. But if it's destroyed our race for the front, I'm going to be a bit annoyed. So, Hoy's going to come out of the pits, and he's going to have, I think that's Hakkinen ahead of him, yeah. So we're really starting to lap a few people. So Diano's 4th, De Vries is 5th, he's fended off Verstappen. That side-by-side battle they had that was absolutely epic has gone in De Vries' favour, and Verstappen can't deal with it. Watson up to 7th, 2KF1, after having finally battled past the Harveys. Good result for them incoming, if they can survive the next 5 laps. Button 8th and Brundle 9th, so another solid chunk of points for Harvey. They're looking like they're going to finish side by side again, which is always helpful for points because, well, you know what your pace is, basically. I think Harvey have proven themselves to be the best of the ultra low downforce cars, which isn't much, but it's something. Rossi heads Alonso, heads Clark. Don't know what it is about the Red Knights. They just, well, they had all the crashes at the beginning of the race, and like Clark found with Watson found with the Siggy Pops, it's hard to get past the ultra low downforce cars because they've got a lot of speed. The Siggy Pop and the Harveys have got enough speed down the straights to make it difficult to get past, but once you're past, you're fine. But Clark has been a bit of a problem at the beginning of the race for some drivers, and Hakkinen, he's just had to let Chris Hoy through, and he's got Fangio right behind him. It's another case of what could have been, but at least at the moment he's on for some points, so it's something. Fangio 14th and Schumacher 15th. He's a lap ahead of Frentzen, who's just behind him on track, and Nick Heidfeld, who, less said about him the better, especially if your name is Mika Hakkinen. It's actually Fangio has got past Hakkinen. Fangio's past Hakkinen through turn 3 and 4. We'll just go back on and have a look. So, no, that is just... He's just got in the slipstream. Fangio, yep, he's in the slipstream and he's sent up the inside. Hakkinen, he's given him the space. Hakkinen just wants to finish this race now. The Fangio is through. Hakkinen though is now in the slipstream. There's not much power difference and the aerodynamics is the same. So what can Hakkinen do here? He's pulled out the slipstream, changed up the gear, and that's just lost him the momentum he wanted. No, he's had to accept defeat for the moment. And I'll live with that. It's Clark, Rossi and Alonso battling for 10th. This is of course 10th place. Top 10 sponsor, which Siggy Pop have taken. So they do need one of these drivers to be in the top 10. Red Knight, they've gone for, well, they've kept it as double top 10. Which, well, with Fangio down in 13th and Clark 12th, it's not looking like they're on for their sponsor prize money, unfortunately, at the moment. So, Red Knight not going to get as much from this race as they need. Brundle's in 9th. Button 8th. Watson 7th, he's clearly pulled away from the Harveys now, there's no problem with that. Stappen is over half a minute ahead of John Watson in the 2KF1. It's quite scary the differences has been, but I think this can be attributed down to the power difference of having the right downforce levels, and it's just, this track is a power track, so everyone's gone for power. They will find it useful here. Next race it might not be as useful. Of course we've got loads of big downforce circuits appearing soon, so but these guys at the front, DTK and Bravera Racing, are looking, well, scary, I think is the best way to put it. And look at that, De Angelis in 4th place is 40 seconds behind Barthez in the lead. Yep, he's, what's that, he's half a minute behind his teammate. Hoy is 17 behind his teammate, and De Vries in the NLE is 45 seconds off the lead. Now John Watson, 1 minute 33, you know, I think 12th place is the next car that's going to be lapped. I mean, there's only 2 laps, so I don't think there's much need in Barthez to do that. But actually, my prediction was wrong. There's 3 laps to go. No, 2 laps to go, and we're on at 1 minute 19, or 1 hour 19 minutes. So shorter race than Interlagos. Been a lot less attritional, mainly because we're not far enough for the engines to start to reach squeaky bum time, which is 1 hour 30. So actually, Red Knight and High Tech, they're still set up for 25% chance of blowing up at 1 minute 30. Bravera, they managed to do a little bit. They're 1 minute 30 and 50 seconds when they reach squeaky bum time. And a few more are starting to kind of move away from it. So, what's that? Siggy Pop have added 600 seconds, which is of course 10 minutes, so 1 minute 40, or 1 hour 40 even. 2KF 1 hour 40 and 40 seconds. Excelsior, they've not quite as far. Bangalore have got a bit, but Harvey, they've really shot it up to well, their squeaky bum time is nearly 1,000 seconds later. I really need to write this in numbers so I can work out. DTK Racing 8,400 seconds, so that is their squeaky bum time is 1 hour 50, so they need a long race to get scared. But NLE Motorsport, they've pretty much chucked an extra half hour on theirs. They're not hitting squeaky bum time until at least 2 hours, so NLE are looking like they're going to stick around to the end of these races unless a Heidfeld or something happens and gets in their way, or they try and go side by side through a very fast corner and blow each other up. I mean, Heidfeld has just completely blocked Verstappen there through a fast corner on the track and has got completely mugged off at the next corner, and quite rightly so. Back to the back, and Clark is through on Rossi. Is that recent, or is that... No, that happened too far away for us to go find a replay, unfortunately. Häkkinen's fallen away from Fangio, I think. Fangio had the pace, but he didn't, really. Francis trying to unlap himself on Schumacher. I don't know why. But none of this really matters. Well, it does matter for the people involved, but not for now. 49 laps of long, hard racing, but at the front it's been plain sailing. The goalkeeper has kept his cool. He saved everything. And as he approaches the final hairpin, Fabian Barthez for DTK Racing comes out the final corner, heads round the kink, and the Argentine Grand Prix victory, second podium of the season, goes to Fabian Barthez for DTK Racing. Brilliant drive, absolutely epic. No one could touch him. Gilles Villeneuve, he tried. He's finished. It's the most important part. He comes home in second place. Chris Hoy will take third. Also for DTK Racing, a double podium for the team, another double finish. DTK Racing are getting a lot of cars to the finish. They've finished both cars in both races in the top 4. This is quite scary. Elio De Angelis will come across to take 4th in car number 4. This might put him at top of the championship. Don't know about him, Barthez. No, Barthez should be in front. De Vries comes home in 5th. Ahead of Max Verstappen, so De Vries finally gets his first finish, but it's not the first he should have had last time, it's just 5th. But he's staked his claim to be the best Dutchman in the Dutch team, run by the Dutch manager in the Dutch colours. Shame there isn't Dutch Grand Prix. John Watson through the final chicane, into the hairpin. He had a good battle, he's worked hard for that. He got caught behind cars, he was slow, he was quicker than, but they were quicker than him in the overtaking points. It took a lot of guile, but Watson comes through to take 7th place. Jenson Button and Martin Brundle will take 8th and 9th for Harvey Racing. Best of the ultra low downforce, who really can be described as the rest. Fernando Alonso takes 10th place ahead of Jim Clark and Valentino Rossi. Waymo Fangio, first car to be lapped, he's 13th. Mika Häkkinen takes the other 2 KF1 to the finish in 14th place. Michael Schumacher, 15th, the only remaining Bangalore motor racing car, takes the final points. And at least that's something for the team to salvage. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, absolute disaster for High Take, and Nick Heidfeld, enemy number 1, pretty much. But he's finished in 17th place. Dan Gurney retired in 18th, Mario Andretti in 19th, Sergio Perez takes last place. Well, that has been the Argentine Global Formula Automobilista round. I hope you enjoyed the race. I hope you've enjoyed my commentary. I hope it was better sound and audio levels. I hope you could hear me better than last time. It's been a fabulous time, so check it out on the RaceDepartment forums if you're watching this race and not part of it. If you are part of it, hope you enjoyed, hope you got the results you're looking for, and I'll see you next time. Now, there is of course the matter to discuss of this space doesn't have to just be me talking for an hour and a half. If anybody is watching and is interested, I would be happy to open up the commentary box to guest commentators, so anybody who's interested, hit me up, and who knows, we might be hearing you in future races. So, as said, that has been the Argentine Grand Prix. I hope you've liked it, and see you next time for the Italian Grand Prix.